What in the world happened to Skype? That is a question on the minds of people. It should have been an easy win for Microsoft, right? When the coronavirus sent entire offices home, Skype, which was for nearly 2 decades the top app that people used to stay in touch via video with, it should have been the natural choice for businesses to communicate. But shortly after the lockdown was announced, Skype found itself out of sight, out of mind, replaced by an app half its age, Zoom. Why? What happened? Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to discuss why Skype lost the video calling market to Zoom. But before we begin, consider subscribing to my channel and smash the bell icon to get tuned. Done? Now let's get down to business. How did it happen? To understand that, let's take you back to May 2011 when Microsoft acquired Skype for $8.5 billion. At the time, Microsoft already had VoIP telecommunication software built into its programs, including Windows Live Messenger, and Skype had a fraction of the user base, although it paid. But the purchase was a way to capture the spirit of the times through the purchase of a flashy consumer product. Skype was great, yes, it was. But when the buzz didn't budge, Microsoft doubled down on trying to make it compete with everyday communications apps while sacrificing what made it most useful: reliable video calls. They did a redesign of the app and tried to make it a little sexier, younger, and fresher to compete with the world's WhatsApp and Telegrams. However, by integrating many new features including emojis, Skype's version of emojis, as well as various features borrowed from Snapchat, the developers lost their way and did not focus on the core functionality of making sure the video call quality remains. As much maligned review of the app in June 2017 saw the average App Store rating for Skype drop from 3.5 stars to 1.5 stars. How did Skype lose it to Zoom? In response, Skype issued an apologetic blog post. Sometimes when big companies develop products, they only have a few features. Many people complained about the Skype redesign. It was terrible. People got tired of trying to use that app. Everything got complicated. The interface got worse and the performance got terrible. It just lost the ease of use it used to have. At the same time, alternatives were quietly gaining ground, providing the same features for free and without some of the more tangential trinkets. While Skype stagnated and even regressed, others like Zoom began adding relevant features and reaffirming the quality of Skype calls to result in fewer dropped lines. Microsoft had issues with Skype. Even Microsoft acknowledged that it had issues with Skype. The company launched Teams, a product designed to address and take over Slack in workplaces, in November 2016 and began integrating video calls to Teams. At the company's Ignite conference in September 2017, Microsoft sent out an advisory about Skype's business-focused sideline, saying it would soon be replaced by Teams. 18 months later, it also said that Teams would replace the version of Skype for consumers. Microsoft put a lot of energy into building Teams. In 2021, Skype was gone, and anyone who wanted to make a business video call through Microsoft products would have to use Teams. Not that people were using it as much as Zoom, which has benefited from both the free download and higher reliability than its competitors. How did Zoom outwit Skype? Zoom founder Eric Yuan had been working on web conferencing software since he came to the US in 1997 from China to work for WebEx. An April 2020 survey of 1,110 US companies by Creative Strategy showed that 27% of businesses use Zoom primarily for video calls and meetings, compared to 18% using Teams and 15% using Skype. Many businesses quietly moved from Skype to Zoom in the intervening years. As Skype added more and more features that didn't fit the service's core functionality, which is producing decent quality video calls. How did the coronavirus boost Zoom popularity in video calling market? And so when the coronavirus hit, what in the first half of 2017 could have been a call to download Skype to keep in touch became a demand to download Zoom. Zoom has become the poster child for video conferencing, both from a consumer and corporate standpoint. If you look at the strength of Skype and the Teams combined, they should be the ones with the Zoom moment, but they are not. It's marketing and what people think Skype is yesterday's video call. That was echoed in video conferencing news coverage. According to data compiled by Muckrack, a website that collated journalism produced around the world between May 2019 and February 2020, Skype consistently drove media discussions about video conferencing. But when journalists started recommending software to use, they began mentioning Zoom more and more at the expense of Skype and other competitors. In March, Skype was mentioned in 51,000 articles, while Zoom gained mentions in 60,000 stories. In April, Skype remained the same, written 50,000 articles, while Zoom was included in 195,000 stories. Like many changes in society, we start to notice the coronavirus taking hold. The virus outbreak was not the cause, but it was a catalyst, augmenting what had been a 3-year turnaround from Skype. The need for a high-speed, reliable video conferencing system meant that people were willing to wait for Skype, which they knew was already on its way anyway, thanks to Microsoft's pronouncement that it would be shut down. They went straight to Zoom. During COVID-19, many big companies decided to switch to Zoom from Skype as it gives us the feature we're looking for. Why? The reasons were many. The company had experienced quality problems with Skype in recent months, which they did not find with Zoom. They also found that they were increasingly alone in using Skype. More and more customers are using Zoom, which means they already have the platform installed and are ready to go. And customers not using Zoom have no problem connecting to the browser version. That ability to connect to calls without any friction is also part of why Zoom has succeeded where Skype has failed. Many of Zoom's millions of new users are less tech-savvy and just want something that works, which Skype can no longer guarantee. That's what was one of the best things about Skype, and now Zoom just works and is easier to use. So what will Skype's legacy be, having gone from the first thing you think of when considering video conferencing to an app that has been left without the biggest potential use case for its product in human history? Well, our opinion is that there will be twin legacies. From Microsoft's point of view, it will be a success. They bought a niche company and integrated it into Microsoft Office, so it has broadened its reach. But what we think early is that Skype users will shake their heads at what Microsoft did. They took this cool little product and made it corporate. Skype has fallen flat. Seeking to keep up with the image and diversity of services, Skype fell behind in terms of calling functionality, experiencing ever-increasing load times and connection failures so frequent that it was soon matched and surpassed in the area in which it had ventured from the beginning, leaving it without a clear purpose and, worse still, without a badge in the face of growing competition. By the time the pandemic sent us all home, Skype's golden opportunity was quickly claimed by its successor, Zoom, which, despite being particularly limited in terms of the duration of video calls in groups of 3 or more, managed to captivate the whole world with the efficiency of its service, to such a degree that many did not mind having to re-enter a new session when the call in progress expires to keep abreast of the day-to-day work at the business level. Although it is still considered a useful platform today since Skype was dethroned, it has dedicated itself to considerably improving its video calling service. It is unlikely that it will be able to recover that position it once held at the top of the technological world. What are you going to remember about Skype after it's gone? If Skype doesn't rise later again, all that we would remember is that when Skype came out in 2003, it completely revolutionized the way we communicate with each other. At that time, MSN Messenger was on point and social networking was just beginning to take hold, with sites like MySpace, Hi-Fi, and Facebook quickly taking the lead. Initially focused on the democratization of global communication, Skype offered the possibility of making video calls as well as much cheaper phone calls in those days when cellular plans did not have unlimited minutes and charged you up to the cents that corresponded to the seconds that you were talking to a friend. So it quickly became one of the most used tools for a good time, to such an extent that Skyper became a verb that traveled on everyone's lips. With that being said, I hope you liked the video, and if you did, make sure you give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. And don't forget to hit that bell icon so you get notified when we have a new video. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you and bye-bye.